Welcome to another episode of the No More Wasted Days podcast. I'm your host, Sarah, and I'm super stoked to dive into this episode, and I'm going to try to keep it short. We know I'm a yapper, but I know your time is precious. But before we dive all the way into this episode, I want you to know that you can hop on the waiting list right now for my next round of the Push to 100 Alcohol-Free Challenge. I will be working with 50 people who are going through their first 100 days of being alcohol-free. And I say your first 100 alcohol-free days, but this is really for anyone that is anywhere on their journey that wants a little extra support. These 100 days allow you to quit drinking while feeling supported, and you'll feel confident on your alcohol-free journey. To check out all of the details and get on the waiting list today, just head to nomorewasteddays.co/100 waiting list or check out the link in the show notes. All right, let's dive into this episode. Strategy number 1, I want you to manage your cravings with a plan, not with shame. Cravings are never proof that drinking is what we need to turn to. They're not proof that you're weak or you don't have willpower. It is just because we have created a habit around our drinking. So our body is conditioned to think, I need alcohol right now at this time, or I need alcohol when I'm feeling stressed, or I need alcohol when I'm feeling happy. Whenever you drank, your body has become very conditioned to expecting it at that time. But if you have a plan in place, it's going to make it so much easier to manage these moments in your life. So what are some plans that you can have in place? First, you can try what is called urge surfing. I want you to know that a craving typically lasts about 15 minutes at the longest. So during that 15 minutes, if you're urge surfing, you're going to picture your craving being like a wave. It's going to rise up and it's going to get to its biggest point, but then it's going to lower down. And before it totally crashes, it's going to surf for a little while before it dissolves. So picture yourself on this wave. You are surfing the urge. You're just floating above it as you go. This visualization is going to make the craving feel like it's easier to get through, and you're going to actually picture that 15 minutes flowing through. Now, you don't actually have to do this urge surfing for 15 minutes. You can picture, hey, I'm going to ride this wave right now. It's going to rise up and then it's going to start lowering down. And I'm going to do this with calmness, and I am going to get through this craving. You could also try something like changing your location. Go walk through a doorway, because this signals to your brain, I'm doing something new, and you can leave behind your craving in the other room. Walk into the bathroom and put on your favorite lip balm, or wash your hands in some really warm water with some lavender soap and then put on some moisturizer, or even do your facial routine that you do each night. Just change locations. Maybe it's walking into your kitchen and having a glass of water. Maybe it's walking into your office and jotting down a quick to-do list. Or maybe it's walking outside, going on a walk, and listening to a funny podcast. All of these ideas are going to make your brain refocus on something new instead of the craving. I also want you to remember to have a mocktail at this time, or a non-alcoholic drink. In my early days, it was a LaCroix with a squeeze of lime into it, or even just a plain LaCroix. Don't overthink this. Just have something that does not have alcohol in it. A lot of times your brain starts to think, oh, I'm getting what I want. I want a drink and I'm getting it. And it doesn't realize that the buzz isn't coming, and then the craving is over by the time it actually realizes it, and you've moved on. Craving is done. Lastly, I want you to tell yourself this simple sentence. You can't have a drink today, but if you still want to drink tomorrow, you can have the drink tomorrow. So you're going to push this idea that you want to drink off to the next day. Now, when the next day comes, you usually don't want the drink anymore, and you're usually very proud of yourself that you chose not to have the drink, and you can sit with that and realize that you learned from this moment. You were able to be stronger than the craving. But if you still feel like you want the drink the next day, then you start repeating that phrase again to let yourself get through this day and go to the next one. I want you to know that cravings are a sign that your brain is healing. It's not a sign that something is wrong with you. It's a natural part of the healing process. So when a craving hits, just remind yourself, I am healing. I'm going to get through this craving. And the next time a craving hits, it will be easier to manage because I'm going to get through this one right now. Strategy number 2, I want you to come up with a strong why, so being alcohol-free becomes non-negotiable. What is your why? Why are you choosing to be alcohol free? When somebody asks me this, I simply say, I choose to be alcohol free because I like myself better when I'm not drinking. This statement sounds really, really simple, but it actually feels very powerful to me. And when I say this to myself, I quickly remember who I was when I was a drinker and the parts of me that I didn't like, the parts of me where I woke up feeling hungover and saying, oh my gosh, I drank again and I drank too much. I keep saying I'm going to forget. I need to take control. I didn't like that version of myself. I like this version so much more, who shows up and does the things that she says she's going to do. Now, your why may to be totally present with your family, to not have any more blackouts, to wake up without hangovers and be present for the day. But I want you to dig deep on this and really work with this. When you do my 30-day alcohol-free challenge, you actually revisit your why every single week. And we do this because your why is going to shift and change as you shift and change as a person. In the beginning, a lot of times, your why is to feel healthy again, to get rid of hangovers. And then a lot of times your why starts to shift to be more present for your family members because you're starting to see, like, I'm so much more present in my family. I want more of this. And then eventually your why shifts to something inside of you. And I always want you to work to get to the why that is something inside of you personally, because you're only guaranteed to be stuck with you for the rest of your life. So if you put your why on other people, it usually won't be enough. Even if you're saying, I'm doing this for my kids, it won't be enough. It needs to be something for you. So just like mine is, I choose not to drink because I like myself better when I'm alcohol free. That's about me. But think about who you envision yourself when you're alcohol free. Are you calm? Are you more energetic? Do you feel more proud of yourself? Have you stopped abandoning your goals for the buzz? And are you showing up for your kids and showing them what self-respect looks like? All of these different things put you in a different identity of yourself. And that's what your why really should be, this shift of your identity. So get really strong on your why. Once your why is solid, you're no longer just resisting alcohol. You're protecting your future. Strategy number 3, I want you to socialize with confidence, even if you feel nervous, and I'm going to teach you how to do this. Social discomfort is totally normal at first, and alcohol has always been the crutch, right? But I want you to know that social discomfort is normal at first for everybody. Everybody feels a little awkward at the beginning of the party. Everybody feels a little awkward at the beginning of the whatever the meeting is, okay? Wherever you're going and there's a group of people, everybody feels a little awkward at first. Even that person who seems like the social butterfly who does it all with ease. They're feeling a little awkward on the inside. They just have more practice at this than you. Now, you think that alcohol gave you this confidence, but what alcohol gave you was a pause. So you're going to learn how to take the pause without alcohol. Alcohol gave you the moment to enter the party and say, oh, I'm going to get a drink, and walk around drinking your drink. You had something in your hand. So step number 1, when you enter the situation, if people are drinking, get yourself a non-alcoholic drink. So you've got something in your hand. You're already doing the pause without the alcohol. And then I want you to have some phrases that you can say to people that you have practiced at home before you've gone to the social event. So when people ask you if you want a drink, you can just quickly say, no, I'm actually not drinking tonight, but thank you. Or if they ask you what drink you want, you can say, oh, I would love an unsweetened iced tea. Do you happen to have that? Or, yeah, I'm actually going to go up to the bar and order a drink right now. You don't have to let them know that you're getting a drink that doesn't have alcohol in them. So one thing I want you to do is practice not being weird about it, okay? I say this and I laugh because I always feel weird about it when I'm doing it. And even all these years, I still feel like a spotlight shines on me when I say, actually, I'm just going to get an unsweetened iced tea. I feel like the spotlight's been shined on me. Everybody knows I'm not drinking. And guess what? Nobody says anything, and there is no actual spotlight, and everybody continues on with their day and life goes on. That's what I want you to know, okay? But practice and keep doing this. You can simply say something like, I'm actually not drinking tonight because I have to wake up for this thing tomorrow. Nobody knows that you don't have a thing, or the thing that you're waking up for is to enjoy your coffee without a hangover. Do not overcomplicate it and never feel like you need to justify yourself. If somebody is asking a lot of questions, answer those questions as simply as possible and move on. Now, here are some other strategies you can put into place when you're socializing. You can drive yourself separately so you can leave when you're ready to. I often find that as soon as people start getting a little too drunk, it's too much for me. It's not that I feel triggered by seeing people drunk, it's that it's not very fun to hang out with drunk people when you're not drunk. Now, I had a lot of fun hanging out with drunk people when I was drunk, okay? So I'm not trying to be judgmental here, but when you are sober and you're hanging out with people who are drinking and some people start to get very drunk by the end of the night, it can get a little bit boring if you're sober because people are telling the same stories over and over, or they think they're being really funny, but they're not. When you have your own car to drive yourself home, you can leave at this time. Again, don't feel like you need to justify why you're leaving early and don't overcomplicate it. Just say, hey, I'm going to head out for the evening. It was great seeing you. I'll see you next time. Get in your car, drive home safely because you're sober, and wake up the next day and feel amazing. I also always want you to have a drink in your hand, whatever it is, even if it's a glass of water. One thing I do when I'm at a restaurant with people and the waitress comes over right before dinner, like right before the entree is ordered, right? They're always like, can I get some drinks started for you? This can feel like a very triggering moment. So always when they get to me, I've never had time to look at the menu because I'm usually yapping. So instead I say, hey, I'll just start with water right now. Again, no one shines a spotlight on me. Nobody goes, what? Everybody just moves on. And you know what? Other people a lot of times say, I'm just going to start with water too. And later on, maybe they order a margarita or a drink. And then by that time, I've had time to decide if I actually want a drink or not. And sometimes I just stick to water and sometimes I switch it up to a mocktail. But simply saying, hey, I'm just going to start with water. I tell you, there's something about that phrase that actually makes me feel very confident when I say it. Almost like, oh, look at me. I'm so healthy. I care about my hydration. I'll just start with water. So I hope that this phrase helps you take a pause, figure out what you're going to drink for the night. If you're at a big social event, I want you to find a one-to-one conversation to focus in on. It can feel very overwhelming when you're standing in a group of people, you're not drinking, and you're just trying to figure out who you're going to talk to. Now, usually if you scan the room, you're going to see somebody else who maybe looks like they're feeling a little bit awkward. They don't have anybody to talk to either. You're going to go over and you're going to talk to that person. And you know what? You're going to do it from this place of feeling helpful. I am going to go make that person over there not feel like they're being left out of the conversation because I'm going to talk to them. Have a few generic questions you can ask, like, hey, who do you know here? How did you find this party? That can be a great conversation starter. And then after that, you can lead to the generic questions like, what do you do for work? Where do you live? I say this because I live in a county where everybody's very spread out and we all live in different cities. So it's always kind of interesting to hear where people live. Or maybe you want to ask about their family or any pets they have. I always love hearing about people and their animals. I will say that a lot of times the conversation starts to naturally lead itself once you start talking about like, how do you know the host? You start picking up on other things so you don't have to just feel like you're asking a million questions to this person. I also want you to know if you're not hitting it off with this person and the conversation is not flowing, you can always say something like, hey, it was great talking to you. I actually need to run to the restroom really quick. I'll see you later. Or, hey, it was great talking to you. I just need to go refill my drink and I'm sure I'll talk to you later in the evening. Have a little bit of an exit plan just in case the conversation is not all you thought it was going to be, and then try out somebody else. Lastly, I want you to have a reward planned for yourself afterward. What are you going to do when you get home and you chose not to drink? Maybe you're going to sit down and have a cozy cup of tea. You're going to snuggle under a weighted blanket and you're going to watch an episode of a show you like. This is something I actually do when I get home from socializing now, and it's something that I never would have done when I was drinking because I probably would have gotten home and just wanted to drink more, and that's what always led me to drinking so much that I had a hangover the next day. I maybe didn't remember all of the night before. And then maybe your reward can even be the next morning. You're going to wake up. You're going to have an amazing coffee. I always make myself on the weekends what I call my poor man's mocha. I pour my brewed coffee. I add a tablespoon of cocoa powder and 2 tablespoons of half and half. Yes, I have a recipe for it. That's the way I like it. It's perfect. It's not too chocolatey. And then I use one of those like electric whisker things. I do that and it feels like a fancy mocha. And especially because I'm not hungover, it doesn't just taste like survival. It tastes like pure enjoyment. So have yourself some sort of reward after you get through the socializing without drinking. And I want you to remember that being alcohol-free does not make you boring. It makes you present and grounded. Strategy number 4, we are going to live sanely in a world that glorifies alcohol. Now, that strategy sounds like, what? What is she even talking about? But I am talking about the memes, the posts you see on social media, and the marketing manipulation. Marketers are tapping into the fact that we're not giving big alcohol all of our money during this month, but we're not going to cave to this. We are way above their marketing manipulation. Alcohol culture treats alcohol as the fix for boredom, for being a mom. Like, oh, being a mom is so hard. Drink to make it easier. I will tell you, drinking never made me a better mom, and it never made my parenting easier. That was one of the wins early on for me, is that I could see I was a much more patient mom with my kids, and I was actually willing to be present with them and not choose to have a drink instead of hanging out with them. Alcohol may be telling you that you need it to celebrate, that without it, you can't celebrate. Yes, you can. On New Year's Eve, we popped a bottle of sparkling tea from Trader Joe's, and it was really good. I definitely recommend going and checking that out. It felt fun and festive. But you know what? We also had Monster energy drinks, and that felt fun and like a party and felt exciting because I don't have Monster energy drinks a lot. Most of the time, I don't have them. But realize that you can celebrate in other ways. I also want to normalize unfollowing accounts. And if there's people where you feel like I can't unfollow that person because they're going to know, here's a secret. You can actually mute people and they have no idea you did it. You're still following them, but you don't see any of their content. And when you do it on Instagram, you can mute them and it will say, what do you not want to see? And it'll say post stories. You can even make it so you don't see their reactions to other posts. You know, the little floating bubble when people like something that you're following. You won't see any of that. They don't know you did it. And then you can always go choose to unmute that person. I do this a lot when I feel like somebody's given me that feeling of keeping up with the Joneses. Like, I don't need to keep up with anybody on social media. I've got my own life to live. So I hit the mute button from time to time. It's totally okay. So if you follow someone who is constantly joking about drinking or making it feel like this light thing and it's really triggering to you, if you do not know the person personally, unfollow them. If you know the person personally and you feel like they're going to take offense if you unfollow, mute. You can also do this with ads that you're being fed. If you are being fed ads on Facebook about alcohol, you can actually hit, I believe, the 3 dots in the upper right-hand corner, and it will say, I don't want to see content like this anymore, and you can just click that. Sometimes they ask for a reason, so you can go into more detail there if you choose to, but the more you click the I don't want to see that, they start catering different ads to you. So control your algorithm so you're not seeing the drinking stuff. You're in the driver's seat. And I just want you to remember that there is a political and financial incentive for a lot of people when it comes to their marketing advertising. I've talked about it a lot, and sometimes people think, oh, this is so controversial. I hate it when she talks about this. But we cannot fight the patriarchy if we are drunk. And you can't fight the patriarchy either if you're hungover. So I want you to remember that if you're staying clear-headed, that means your brain is open to see everything in front of you. And maybe that's something that they don't want us to be. So they're saying, hey, drink the alcohol that we heavily tax. And same thing with big alcohol. They don't care about you. They want you to buy alcohol. They are marketing it to look cool, so you go buy their highly addictive substance, the substance that is addictive to everyone. And quite frankly, they probably love it if you get addicted because it means you're going to be a loyal customer. Nope, not you. You're not going to be a loyal customer for them anymore. Nothing makes me more proud that I have not given big alcohol $1 of my money since I quit drinking. That idea motivates me so much, so I hope it motivates you too. And I want you to remember that you are not the strange one for wanting to be awake, for wanting to be alert and sober. You're actually the one that is enlightened and you happen to know the secret. And the secret is being alcohol-free feels amazing. It truly is the biggest life hack for adults. Be alcohol-free and lots of things become better. I always say that being alcohol-free won't solve all your problems. It won't just make your life amazing. But truly, I feel like it solved a whole bunch of my problems. All right, strategy number 5 is adapt a mindset of abundance and not a mindset of deprivation. Like, oh my gosh, this is like a whole world of opportunity now being alcohol free. That is how it finally felt for me when it stuck. All the other times that I did some sort of reset or a break, I really was white knuckling it through that. Maybe I wasn't white knuckling it, I don't want to say, because, after 2 weeks, the habit piece of it starts to get a little bit easier. But I was definitely thinking, okay, I just got to get through, 2 more weeks of this and then I get to drink again. I don't want this for you. Instead, I want you to start looking at your alcohol-free life through a different lens. I want you to start seeing all the amazing things that are happening for you because you're choosing not to drink. And I want you to write those things down. Those are going to be like your alcohol-free gratitudes. Waking up without a hangover, your coffee tasting so delicious in the morning, driving your kids somewhere in the evening because you're not drunk. Driving yourself somewhere in the evening. I love to go get something in the evening and be like, oh yeah, I can drive to the store and go get that right now because I'm sober. Maybe some of your sober gratitudes are that you're getting into fewer arguments with your partner, or you're a more patient mom with your kids. You're feeling more creative at work. You have more energy for workouts. You have more energy for meal planning. Food tastes better. Maybe your anxiety is lower. Maybe it's better sleep. Oh my gosh, I feel like I could go on and on and on, like better skin, clearer skin, brighter eyes. There are so many wins when you're alcohol free, so I want you to start focusing on those wins. And I swear, when you focus on the wins, when you focus on all the abundance that is coming your way because you're choosing not to drink, it doesn't feel like a punishment anymore. And that is what drove me to continue on after 30 days. I got to the end of 30 days and I was like, why would I quit now? Like, I feel like it keeps getting better and better every single day. So I want to see where it goes as I keep going. And that's when it turned in for me, like, I'm going to go to 100 days, which felt like, whoa, that feels so big. That feels like such a big milestone. But I knew I could get there after 30 days. So I rode that momentum because I was focusing on being abundant instead of feeling like I was being deprived. So track your daily wins, and then I also want you to start tracking your gratitudes. Write down 3 things that you're grateful for each day. Either do it at the end of the day where you can sit down quick, write 3 things down that happened to you that you're totally grateful for, and maybe one of them is an alcohol-free win, but really stay in that mindset of gratitude and abundance. Remember, being alcohol-free is not something where you should feel deprived. Instead, you should be seeing what a gift it is. It's one of the best gifts I've ever given myself. I seriously wish I could go back to the beginning sometimes just so I could feel that intense gratitude for being alcohol-free. But I love that I do this podcast so I can talk to people who are new on their alcohol-free journey now, because then I remember how amazing it feels, and I want that for you. All right, strategy number 6. I want you to create micro joy moments to support real dopamine. Daily joy is essential, okay? Pursuit of happiness is actually in our Constitution. It's like one of the major rights of every person. So I want you to find those moments of happiness and those moments of joy every single day. And we have rewired our brain to think that alcohol is the way to get there. And we have made our brain see that it is a quick way to get dopamine, which is the feel-good hormone. And we're going to learn how to do it differently now. Now, I've done whole episodes on dopamine, and I know I'll do more episodes on dopamine in 2026. But basically, when you drink, it boosts your dopamine hormones and it makes you feel good. That's the buzz. All of a sudden, it is boosted into like overdrive. But then you know what happens? It crashes, and it crashes hard. So instead, we're going to find sustainable ways to create dopamine. Now, when you first quit drinking, your dopamine receptors are really all kind of fried out. So it is hard. You might feel kind of flat. You might feel kind of like, this is pretty boring. That's how I felt when I quit drinking caffeine and quit smoking weed at like the same time. I was like, whoa, my life is really kind of boring. And I had to work really hard to find ways to boost my dopamine. I knew exactly what was happening because I teach it. I was like, okay, I know how to fix this. But I did have to be intentional, and that's what I want you to do too. So here are some ways to get those micro joy moments to boost your dopamine in healthy ways. You can go outside and take a short walk. Being outside in the sun or just getting the UV rays, because I'm in Western Washington, it's not always sunny, but getting outside is a way for you to boost dopamine. You can have a short dance party in your kitchen, or your living room, or wherever you are. Put on a song that you know always makes you start shaking your hips, moving your shoulders, and that is a way to get dopamine. And don't even tell me, well, I can't dance. You're doing this when nobody's watching, okay? I'm not telling you to film yourself dancing and put it up and enter yourself into like Dancing with the Stars. I'm telling you to dance around your kitchen or in your bathroom, wherever you can dance. It creates dopamine. Another way that I don't do because it sounds awful, but some people enjoy it, is cold exposure. So I hate being cold. Once I'm cold, it's like the hardest thing to get warm. I feel like it puts me into an instant bad mood, but you can do a cold plunge. I know people who love it. You can also go outside without a coat on. That's cold exposure. So if that actually sounds like something that you want to do, it is a great way to boost your dopamine. Start planning small adventures for yourself that create a sense of novelty. Go try new things that you haven't done before, things that you've always wanted to do. We have a lot of the Dambo trolls right around us in Western Washington, so that was a few of our micro adventures. These were actually little adventures to go see these really cool trolls that are made out of all recycled materials. Now, they're called Dambo trolls, D-A-M-B-O, and they're all over the United States and the world. So go look it up and you can actually go on your own troll hunt. That's a little micro adventure. And when we do it, we were usually seeing a different part of Western Washington that we hadn't seen before. Maybe it's going to a local park that you've just never been to and you're going to go walk around. You're going to go walk around the park, do a few laps. That's a micro adventure right there. Maybe it's trying a new restaurant, or maybe it's going thrifting. Okay, think about things that you're like, oh yeah, that sounds really fun. Whatever I just said right there, the one that spoke to you, go do those things. Do not overthink the micro adventure thing. Just plan it, go do it. You will be very surprised in how much joy and dopamine this provides you with. I've talked about dancing, but I want you to know too that just moving your body in any way, walking, yoga, doing a workout, any of these things will also boost your dopamine. And engaging in a creative task. Maybe it's painting, and it can be paint by number. Maybe it's doing a coloring book, the adult coloring books. Crocheting, singing, all of these things that get us into the creative flow boost dopamine for us. So find the thing that really spoke to you there and say, I'm going to make this part of my daily habit. I'm going to go on a 10-minute walk each day, or I'm going to do a 3-minute dance party in my bathroom each day where no one can see me. This is going to retrain your brain to feel pleasure in a natural way. And it's going to give you dopamine without giving this huge spike where then you have a huge crash. It will take a while for these things to really start feeling good. And it will take a while for your body to finally equalize and come to a good state where it's not feeling so meh or flat. But you will get there. And just think, like all of the things I said, except for the cold plunge, sound really fun. And maybe the cold plunge does sound really fun to you. So I don't even want to take that one out either. But all of them sound like fun activities. So go for it. And remember that your joy that you're feeling when you do these activities is real this time. It is not borrowed from alcohol. It is not being chemically produced. And it's also not followed by consequences like hangovers or not remembering what you did the night before. What an amazing gift you can give yourself. So those are my 6 strategies. So whether you're brand new to your alcohol-free journey or you're farther along on it, I know that these strategies are going to make you feel joyful in your alcohol-free journey, and that is the goal. When you set yourself up with these kind of strategies, this can be a turning point for you as you step into your new alcohol-free self. If this episode has been helpful, I would love it if you can leave a review if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, or leave me a comment on Spotify or YouTube. And I've been getting a lot more comments on Spotify and YouTube, so I appreciate it so much. It's so cool to connect with you guys in real time. Because I'll be real, doing a podcast is kind of weird. I sit in a room all by myself and talk to myself. So it's great to hear that these words are having an impact on people. Remember too that you can get on the waiting list for the next round of the Push to 100. Just head to nomorewasteddays.co/100 waiting list, or check out the link in the show notes to this episode. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll be in your ear in the next episode.